Good morning. Saturday morning here in Jardin d'Yves in the Cantal in France. I'm half asleep, which is a great time to do a little chat, which is what I want to do. I've written some notes down on a bit of paper. As every time I want a little chat, I've got a million things going around my head, so I need to put it on paper to make sure that I cover everything. So first of all, I hope everybody's well, and the winter's now creeping in. So we've got our cuisinière on, and it's lovely and warm in here. Excuse me. I will do another video about, I was going to say the kids have gone to school, but that's another video that I've got to do separately. So this one is about everything that's going on, really, and the main thing is I wanted to share is our apples. Now we have baby apple trees at the moment, but we have been inundated with apples because people have been have too much, and we've met them. I'll tell you the story. We've been making compote in France, which is apple puree in England. And all week, and we've been giving it away, we've been putting it in the freezer, and everything we do in the summer we try and preserve as much as we can for the winter, because the money's always lower in the winter, and of course, you know, you don't get your fruits and things like that. Excuse me. So basically, I wanted to talk about everything that's going on in the world, and this one relates to food shortages. Now, everything at the moment that's going on major, the food shortages, the energy crisis, the financial stuff, is manufactured. So the first thing is the food, okay? So they're trying to scare us with all this food shortages. Now, there is not a lack of food anywhere. There is plenty of food. They're just destroying the food supply, basically. There's lots of evidence about this online if you want to just go and have a look. But what I want to do is say you have to focus on these things. You really got to focus now. But stay in your heart space. Don't feed any fear into it. Find the solutions. There's always a way around, and you'll be fine. Okay, so the first one is our apple story. So we have small apple trees. There's an apple tree in Videsh, which nobody, it's like a holiday home, and they're never there. And we tried to ask if we could borrow the apples, or borrow them, like we're going to eat them and give them back. Exchange the apples for like some stuff from our garden. They never got back to us. So like there's all these apples going to waste everywhere. Now we live in a hamlet near a village, and I know if you live in a town, you're going to have to go find the villages, really. Go find apple trees, because they're around, and each tree has excess and they're dropping all the time. Go have a word with your neighbours. If they've got apple trees, just collect the apples. I know it takes a little bit of time, but it's amazing. Like this puree, apple puree, I remember giving it to the kids when they were little, but everyone in France buys it in the supermarket in jars. And you know, there's just excess food around. Just go find it. And if you've got something that your neighbour doesn't have, do an exchange, okay? So learn how to. So anyway, no, sorry, I'm digressing. The apple story. We were in the village somewhere, and there was a sign up saying in French saying apples for free. Now, when we've got excess things, like recently we had like shitloads of cucumbers, so we put a sign up in French saying free, help yourself. So we had cucumbers in our back of our car, and we saw all these apples, and we were like, oh wow, amazing. So I went up to the lady and said, you know, can I give you some cucumbers for these apples? She said, oh, it's free. And I said, well, so are our cucumbers. So, and this was what, 2 weeks ago? Never met them before. They're an older couple. They live up near Paris somewhere, and they live here sort of for the winter. Now, we've made really good friends with them now, because every week we've been going collecting these apples, and we've been making compote out of them, because it's just amazing stuff. You don't add any sugar in it, so you cut it all up, take all the crap out of the apples, the bruises, the middle bits, and the skin and everything. Leave all that, and we cook that up for our chickens. So you don't waste anything. And if you don't have chickens, give it to somebody else. Anyway, I'm just trying to give you ideas here. Just say there's ways around everything. I keep looking away because I'm trying to concentrate. I'm half asleep in my lovely new healing room, but that's another story. So we done all the compote. We've been giving them to people at school. We've been saving all our old jars and giving them away to people, basically. And then the lady phoned me up the other day and said, would you like some more? We're like, okay. And then we saw the man yesterday at the market, and he said, we have more. So there is such an abundance of food around. You just go find it. We've been making the compote, add a little bit of water in a pan and simmer it away until it all goes mush. You don't need any added sugar or anything in it because they're so sweet, the apples anyway. So that's our apple story. And we've been sharing, and people have been giving us things in return. You know, it's a lovely, lovely feeling to get involved in that, and I really urge you to do that in your local community, because all you're going to hear in the news is food shortages, and it's quite easy to get to feed fear into that. So I'm just urging you not to feed fear into it. Go find the solutions. Learn how to forage for wild food. We're not great at that, but we're learning. I've got some books and things, and yeah. So the energy crisis is the next thing. Crisis, that's what they want us to think, okay? Again, manufactured. I'm not going into the details. So what we've been doing since we got here is we've been trying to get more self-sustainable, off-grid, blah-de-blah. We've got a Cuisinière, which is a wood-fired oven, and it heats our home. Not through central heating or anything, we haven't got anything like that. It's so warm that we open up all the doors and it fills up the barn. Well, our bit of it we're living in anyway. We haven't finished at all. We're building the barn, but yeah. So we cook all our food on it. We dry our clothes on it above. We do all the cooking on it, and it's hot water all day. It's amazing, and that's stopping us using the electricity. All you got to do is find the wood, but you just got to do some preparation. Make sure you burn seasoned wood, dry wood, because otherwise you have trouble with the chimney. So that's that, and we're going on 12 volt everything. So I mean, there's certain things like the washing machine. We don't use kettles anymore because we use it because we've got a gas oven, so we weren't using electricity for the kettle anyway. We do have a toaster. So those things are like high voltage, but everything else, the lights, we were on like 200 and whatever it is, 40 volts. Well, there's no need. The 12 volt light is so bright, you just don't need all that voltage. So that's what we're doing. We're rewiring everything to be 12 volt basically, and we're looking into free energy, dare I say it, you know, and there's loads of ways of doing that. So if things come to crunch, then there's loads of ways. Get yourself some copper. That's amazing. It does loads of things. It helps your garden grow all sorts of stuff. Please just look into things on the internet. It's great. Okay, so yeah, just quickly simplify your life, because if you don't rely on the system so much, if you don't rely on the supermarket so much, you don't rely on all these things, when things do go, then you won't be in so much shit, basically. And stock up if you can on the basics. Like we've been discussing online or social media, like, come on, this has been coming for a while now, a good year or two. It's in your face if you look in the right places. It's now on the media. I know it's hard to stock up when you don't have much money, like us. So we've been getting the staples in. We've got as much as we can, but you can only do as much as you can. That's fine. So the financial crash is another thing that's coming. Have as much cash as you can. They're trying to make a cashless society, so keep as much cash as you can on you, out of the banks, and then you don't lose everything when things go. It's coming soon. Learn to exchange and barter, and then you won't have to rely on cash. There you go. I think that's everything on my list. So I'm not going to babble on or anything like that, because that was my main thing. The compote is amazing. You won't believe how many apples we have. And everywhere we go, there's apple trees bulging with these apples. Now, it's really, I know we eat seasonally and things like that, but, oh, another thing, one more thing. In the winter, we're going to get away with our fridge. We're not going to use the fridge, we're going to just use the cool and the cold and put it in the box. So that'll be one. Think what you don't need in your house. What can you cut down on every single level? The more you simplify your life, the easier it's going to be in the coming future. Lots of love. If you need any advice, just give us a shout. All right then, see you soon. Bye. Happy compoting.